the critical explanation or interpretation of a body of work. We examine the fandoms of young and old, looking from origin to ending and everywhere in between. They say you never truly know someone until you know what they are passionate about. Sit back and buckle up. Welcome to the Exegesis.
What's going on, everybody? It is another fantastic Thursday, September 7th, 2023. It's my birthday. Hope everyone's doing well out there. We already got some people in the chat. We have Ro from Scare of Scuttlebutt podcast. He's ready to talk some Ahsoka. We got Danny from Comics and Cosmetics. It's also her birthday today as well, my birthday twin. So happy birthday to Danny. We have Amanda with us as well, and I'm sure we're going to get some more here soon. Man, it's been a day, fast and furious, just trying to get everything buttoned up. But before we get too far into it, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. We do have bio links, and of course, I am part of the Red 5 network, as you saw from the introduction. And you could find us at bio.link/Red5 to get all of our podcasts. Man, we have so many of them on there, and it's just amazing to see the quality of content that they put out. So excited to be part of that group. And of course, for more further adventures for us, bio.link/exegesis. So yeah, it's going to be a great show. I'm really excited about it. Nope, hit that one a little too preemptively. Still getting used to all the controls here. There we go. And of course, I am on YouTube right now, going live, and we do have our live chat going. You could find our YouTube link there at the bio link, as well as our Twitter. Exegesis R5 is our Twitter account, or at Red4Charlie is my other account on there. So yeah, excited about that. But you know what? It wouldn't be an exegesis, and it wouldn't be a party if we didn't have guests. So I invited a guest. He's no stranger to the show, but with us we have, from the Dork Wars, we have Blake. Hey Blake, how's it going?
Pretty good, DJ. Happy birthday.
All right, man, I appreciate it. Well, what you been up to?
Nothing much, just geeking out, dorking out, as always. Nothing else. What else? What is there to do?
Well, that's about it, really. Just having a good time. But as I said, you're part of the Dork Wars. So for those that might not know who the Dork Wars are, explain it to them.
So Dork Wars, the podcast, is a show that me and four of my friends do about mainly Star Wars, but we've branched out into other topics as well. We've done like Avatar, The Last Airbender. We've done Marvel, like Spider-Man and DC. We've done a bunch of different things at this point. So check out our podcast. We release once a week. I try to do Mondays. One of our guys did not get his audio in on time, so we actually dropped our episode 3 Ahsoka review today, but it's okay because we talk about a lot of stuff that's not just about the episode. There's a lot of Star Wars lore, a lot of cool stuff going on.
Awesome.
So
Yeah,
check
it's
us out.
great. Yeah, I started to listen in, but then had to cook dinner and all that kind of stuff like that. I'll finish it here in a little bit. I was listening to it
Sweet.
on
Thank you.
Spotify, so I got it saved. When I go back after all this, it'll be right where I left off. So definitely don't want to miss
And
any of that.
to get to
Um,
Rose question down there, we do have wars. We do. It gets heated sometimes.
it does. It does. Not only that, you could also find Blake in another group of fine, upstanding. Well, let's use that term loosely. With the Madden Bros, which
Oh
I also
yeah.
am a part of as well. We have a
Need to-
Twitch channel.
Yeah, we need to start getting our content out there more. I think we're all learning the new Madden game, so I think we're all embarrassed at this time to put it on the screen.
Yeah. With the new edition of Madden, it's definitely been a challenge. It's fun, but it's
It's fun.
definitely not for regular consumption just as of yet. I think we need to get a little
Yeah.
more polished.
Yeah.
But who knows? We'll see what happens when we start playing each other.
Right.
But yeah, it should be fun. But yeah, I mean, hey, it's with the new show, everything's a little streamlined here. So we are going to get to some news. All right, man. It's been a week. Been a week for news, I guess. We're gonna go back just a little bit here. I'm still getting used to all this. Where's my banner? There it is. Unfortunately, we had another one leave our ranks. We had the passing of Jimmy Buffett on September 1st. So it was a week ago. I don't think I heard about this until after I was done with the show. Otherwise, I would have mentioned it then. But I guess he was dealing with some health issues. He tried to continue to perform his last show, being an appearance in my home state of Rhode Island in early July. Really came on the scene in 1977 with Margaritaville. Hard to believe that that was that long ago. Such a popular song. Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. I don't know. Not really my kind of music, really, but I respect him as an artist. What do you think? Were you a fan of his music, Blake?
Well, I was at an open mic last night, and I did do a rendition of Margaritaville and Cheeseburger in Paradise. So I like his music. You know, it's not wasn't my go-to, but definitely great songs, great vibes, great party music. You can't deny that Jimmy Buffett was a great part. It was great party music.
Absolutely. So we have some new members of the chat. We had Alan from Grave Reviews stop by. We have Nicole from Used and Abused in the chat as well. Spencer, hey, what's going on, man? We have Shanti from Pop My Culture is in. F-Class Heroes, man, couldn't do it without you. Really appreciate you joining in. Thank you so much for all the birthday wishes. On this next news is one that I kind of got into to start with, but really fell off. It kind of, I guess, took a turn or just seemed really drug out. And that has to do with The Walking Dead. So this series is coming out soon. It's an extended, I guess, what was it, a sequel to the Walking Dead franchise. This one premieres September 10th on AMC. I don't know. Like I said, I kind of fell off watching the last few seasons. apparently Daryl Dixon, who is arguably one of the most popular of characters in the show,
Right.
has somehow managed to get his way to France. So I guess we have a
Oui.
yeah. You know, so I don't know. Did you watch The Walking Dead at all, or
Man,
what were your thoughts on the show?
I tried to get into The Walking Dead. I saw a few episodes, and I don't know, wasn't for me. I didn't click with it. I know there were tons of people love it, but I just it didn't click with me. So I kind of fell off. It was that first episode got me, man. You open up, and it was just, dude, that was the goriest thing I've ever seen on cable television.
Oh yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
I was
man,
like,
what is this show? And I'm like,
yeah, what is this?
okay. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's interesting. I love the concept.
yeah,
You know, especially now it's like you have all these pandemics and epidemics and things running
right.
around. I'm like, all right, let's see. I guess I could watch the Walking Dead to get
Prepare.
caught up on what to do just in case. But yeah, I watched I think the first 3 seasons, and then I kind of got off a little bit, and then went back a little, and then it was just kind of off and on.
Yeah.
It just it was all right. And Spencer says the first 4 seasons were pretty good, fell off during season 5. Maybe I did see season 4. I really don't remember all the details, but it just I liked Negan. I thought he was an interesting character. But in Daryl, I thought Norman Reedus did a very good job with it. But I'm not sure how he made it to France, other than he made it to France, and now he has to deal with maybe they're
French
French.
zombies.
Yeah, I don't know. But
Just start throwing baguettes at them.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll see. And then for the last bit of news I have is The Boys season 4. It's titled Gen V. And this will debut, I believe, September 29th, if I was reading that right. And then, all 3 seasons are going to be available on Prime if you have a Prime account. Really interesting show. I got into season 2 and then haven't gone back yet, so I haven't watched the new season. But I guess I'll have some catching up to do. Seems pretty interesting. I don't know. Did you ever get into that show at all?
Man, I actually recently started getting into The Boys. I've seen maybe half of the first season. I'm pretty impressed. So I've liked it. It's great. So I'm ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it just, I don't know. It's a different take on a superhero show.
Yeah,
and that's what I really like about it.
It's refreshing. I do like that. It's kind of like when you get stories like gosh, now I'm blanking. I just had it in my head. What's another one? Like Did you ever watch the Chronicle movie? The movie Chronicle.
Yes. Yep.
Different take on superhero. It's not even really a superhero movie, really. They're not, but that kind of thing. It was just so out of the box, and I like that.
Yeah.
And same with Invincible. If you've seen that,
I was just going to say Spencer brought it up.
Yeah,
the boys is really good, but Invincible is better. And I almost have them on an even keel, but yeah, they're both really good.
I need season 2. Where the heck is that at? I know. I think I saw it announced for like next year, and I'm like, God, it's been too long already. Come on.
I agree. All right. Well, I mean, I kind of went light on the news here because we have some other talking to do. And let me take off that banner there. And I was trying to make some more videos. I didn't quite get them all done, but that's all right.
Happens to me all the time.
We've already recapped Ahsoka 1 and 2. We did that on it was on the first night that Exegesis came back. So we're not going to go too far into that yet. I think we'll come back to it a little bit once we get into our discussion. So I figured the best way to get into episodes 3 and 4, I'm just going to recap the show, and then we'll get into talking about some of the particulars. Perfect. All right. So episode 3, we had they were flying in hyperspace. Hu Yang is calling out maneuvers to Sabine. Ahsoka tells her that her skills as a Mandalorian are what's really fueling her. We see a battle visor training sequence, kind of like we saw Luke in episode 4. And it really basically comes down to it's a balance issue. Really interesting. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but it flashes over to Hera, who's giving a report, and we get the typical bureaucratic nonsense that she's imploring that more resources are needed to track down Thrawn, and is denied because they say it's not really a threat, more of a personal vendetta. And then we also catch our first look on Jason, which a lot of people were complaining about, just like, oh, in the first 2 that, no, we see Hera, but there's no Jason. This show is trash. And so we actually get a glimpse of Jason, which was interesting. And we cut back to the hyperspace travel, and Sabine wants to use the Force. She's trying, but she can't feel it. And her and Ahsoka are having a discussion, and they go back through the forces and everything. It surrounds us. It's everywhere. But
you penetrate this. Don't forget penetrate.
Oh yes. The penetration is big. But you know what? Talent is a factor, but training and focus are what truly defines someone's success. Not everyone can handle the type of discipline it takes to master the use of the Force. And they cut to Ahsoka and Hu Yang, and Hu Yang says that, hey, she's never going to be a Jedi. She's like the worst candidate ever. She's like, I don't need her to be a Jedi. I just, need her to be her, that just to be herself. And yeah, it's Hu Yang says that, you know what, she wouldn't even be accepted into the Jedi Order. So then they find the Eye of Sion, the large ring of hyperspace travel, and I was trying to remember where I had seen these before, and yeah, in I guess it was it Attack of the Clones or maybe Revenge of the Sith? They had them on their little Jedi fighters to
hyperspace
help train.
rings.
Yep. And this is just a big old one of those. So they get there. It's not quite operational yet, or is it? And a space battle ensues. Shin and Marok are in pursuit. Very similar to the TIE fighter battle after the escape from the Death Star. Really felt that ringing through. Hu Yang scans the ring while dodging turbo fire laser, and Ahsoka's ship is damaged. Sabine takes the fight to the outside as Sabine works on restoring powder, and they are saved by the space whale Purgles. They use those as cover, and they land the ship on the planet. And that's where they get the explanation from Hu Yang that, hey, this isn't something new. we've had tales about this in the Jedi Order from thousands of years ago. And then we flash to Balin, and he tells his forces to hunt them down in the forest, and fades to black. Really interesting thoughts in there. We'll get back to, especially on force sensitivity and who can do that. Let's check in with the chat now that I was reading that, see what's going on there. Where'd my comments go? There they are. Let's see. Trying to read real quick. Yes, can't forget the penetration. The Eye of Wannabe Sauron. An interesting parallel. All right.
Lord of the Big Ring. Yeah.
Yes, Lord of the Big Ring. Yes. Space whales, and Spencer was on his seat there. Really interesting. So then we flash to episode 4, which episode 3 was titled Time to Fly. Okay. I guess really interesting parallels you could take to there. Does that just mean the trip to hyperspace? Does that mean, more of a force training kind of, thing? I don't know. It's just interesting title. And then episode 4 was titled Fallen Jedi, which is pretty interesting. I saw a meme about that earlier, and I'll talk about that here in a second. We start off with episode 4 on the planet in the Ahsoka ship, and we have transmission issues. And yes, Ro, transmission issues can only mean one thing. Ahsoka. Oh, sorry. Invasion. Ahsoka explains that if they can't stop them to getting to Thrawn, then they're going to have to do something dire, even if that means giving up on bringing Ezra back, which kind of sets the tone for later in the episode. Sabine really looked worried at that point on whether or not they could, really, if she'd be willing to give up the search for Ezra. Huyang goes out to make the repairs and ends up just being a total badass. Completely unexpected. I almost really thought he was going to whip out some lightsabers there, but he held his own with the fisticuffs. Thought it was a really cool scene. Then we flash over to Hera over at Home 1, and she's not satisfied with their answer and gathers up the ghost, which was really cool to see in live action, and about half of Phoenix Squadron, and heads out to meet Ahsoka and Sabine out where I guess they told them. I don't even remember them telling them where they were, but she heads out to go try to help them. Flash back down to the planet, and Morgan activates the ball map, and that starts a countdown as they start making their calculations to light speed or hyperspace. And this just really is, it's a tricky concept because, especially going that far, even if they're off by a fraction, then they could be lost forever. And Ahsoka and Sabine start off to go retrieve the map. Huyang tells them, whatever you do, stay together. You always worked better when you were together. And they start off and quickly are intercepted by Shin and Marok. And battles ensue. We got really cool action, and I wasn't sure how they were going to do this, but the spinning Inquisitor lightsaber in all of its glory, it looked fantastic.
Yeah, it did look good.
I thought we were going to actually get more with it,
But no helicopter. No helicopter.
Yeah. It was great.
You got to do the helicopter.
And so we have Marok and Ahsoka, and then we have Shin and Sabine, and we have the reveal that Marok, much like Obi-Wan Kenobi on the Death Star in A New Hope, just kind of vaporizes, and all that's left is his suit of armor, which I thought was interesting. But what comes out of it is green smoke, which normally indicates Night Sister magic for those that have played Fallen Order, or for those that have read the comics. So that was interesting. And then we have Sabine and Shin facing off, basically a stalemate. And in order to get away, Shin deploys an old ninja tactic of a smoke grenade, and she runs off. We switch back over to Sabine, and she goes to confront Balin, and Balin reveals his ambition not necessarily to start a war, but to recreate. And he says one must destroy in order to create, and that it's not him that's going to be waging the war, but Thrawn. That was it was pretty interesting. During the fight, though, I also noticed during both fights with Marok and with Balin, Ahsoka only fights with one hand. She only uses one of her sabers rather than both, which I thought was odd. And I don't know, man. I'm not sure why they.
I think she was planning to get the map with her other hand. I think that was
and I thought that as well. But even for the one with Marok, she only used the one. So I was like, oh, okay.
Maybe she don't need to. She's that cool.
Maybe she used it the first time, but not the second time. But I thought that was interesting. So Ahsoka grabs the ball map, which is what I expected her to do. It seemed like every time that she parried or blocked or just sidestepped a little bit, it always each move brought her a little closer to the map. And then, of course, she reaches out and it burns her. Of course, my first thought was Raiders of the Lost Ark, where you had the dude that burnt the map into his hand. And I was like, oh, okay, here we go. But you have to remember to take off a 10 because you have to give it back to God. Otherwise, their staff is going to be too long. She drops the map in agony. She sees Shin appear and thinks the worst. Basically uses the Force to, I get not choke, but force whip Shin, and knocks her down. Gives into her anger a little bit, and kind of creates a off balance issue, which is what she was telling Sabine about. And off the cliff she goes, much like a fallen Jedi. Anyway, so Morgan comes down, or sends the ship down, and Balin has Sabine shows up. Balin confronts Sabine and says, hey, you know what? You need to give me that map. You don't necessarily have to agree with what I'm saying, but if you ever want to rescue Ezra, here's how you do it. You come with us and give us the map. And she really wants to rescue Ezra, so she gives in, hands off the map. They all go to the hyper ring. And about that time, Hera and Phoenix Squadron show up, and they take off. The hyper ring takes off, causes destruction. Jason says, "I have a bad feeling about this," and we kind of fade back to the planet. We see an overlook and the waves crashing. And then we see Ahsoka's arm, which I thought was very well done, effects-wise, because you're watching and the waves kind of transform into her, and she's standing on this bridge in the middle of nowhere. And as she stands up, gets her bearings, she hears from behind her, "Hello, Snips." And she kind of freezes and looks back, and there is Anakin-ish standing behind her and says, "Didn't expect to see you this soon." And it kind of fades to black, and we hear a theme playing in the background. And that is the end of episode 4.
Yeah.
So I recapped both shows in 15 minutes, so I'm good. And I know that you guys just covered episode 3. So what were your thoughts on episode 3? It was a little different than what I thought we were going to get.
It was, but it was my favorite up to that point. Episode 1, to me, there was a lot of exposition, which rightly so. I mean, you have people watching this who don't know who Ahsoka is. I get that. But still, it moves slow for me. The second one was pretty good. I've got my quips on that, but we're not talking about those episodes. If you want to hear my thoughts on that, check out our podcast. But episode 3 was my favorite up to that point, just because I felt like the story moved better. Mm-hmm. You've got Hera talking with the New Republic. You have Ahsoka and Sabine training. That first half is setting up kind of the story going. Like, that's really kind of where the story starts moving.
Right.
But it doesn't go very far in that first episode. I felt like it was too short for me. I wanted more. The space battle was cool. I like a good space battle, but I just wanted more from that episode. Maybe some flashbacks of what happened between Ahsoka and Sabine. I want to know what happened. You know, all of that happened off screen. So we don't have a clue. You could have put that in with another 10 minutes. You could have something.
Yeah, it was an interesting episode. And like you said, it really, for as short as it did, it moved the plot a lot. A lot of the backlash that that episode 1 and 2 had to deal with the Ahsoka training Sabine, and Padawan and all of that. And I thought that episode 3 kind of cleared that up a little bit. Instead of muddying the waters, I really don't think that she even said in there that I don't need her to be a Jedi. I don't think she's really training her in the Force like a regular Jedi. She's too old for the training. Kind of like
at this point, everybody is
right. But and I always thought when I heard that, I'm like, okay. And then I hear the explanation, and that she's not even good enough to make the Jedi Order. Standard practice says she wouldn't even be qualified for that. And I was thinking, my first thought was like maybe Church of the Force type, maybe something like Chariot. that I am I am one with the Force, and the Force is with
Force is
me.
with me. Yeah.
And not necessarily being able to influence the Force like a Jedi, but come to terms with the Force is there and you can do a small amount. It might enhance your abilities. She's already gifted with her Mandalorian background,
Oh yeah. She's a
with
fantastic
weapons
Mando
and
warrior.
fighting. So if she can tap in a little bit to the Force and enhance those abilities, if she can tap into the Force and use the calming, because Sabine's a hothead.
Yeah.
She's rash. She is ready for battle at the drop of a hat.
She's an
If she
angsty teenager,
uses, yeah, if she
even though she's not a
uses
teenager.
if she uses the Force to think about the battle bigger picture rather than that, I think that fits what they're trying to do and trying to say. Now, who knows?
Right.
We still have another 4 episodes. She could start. I mean, and she even tried
She tried.
in
Yeah.
episode 4 to use the Force to very little effect.
Yeah.
And Shin's like, "You have no power,"
Yeah.
and so maybe that's as far as we'll go with it. Or
And I would be
who
okay with
knows?
that. I would
Yeah,
be okay with that. But training her as a Jedi, I've said it a bunch. That's my big drawback. If she's training her to be a Jedi, I'm just like, I don't click with that idea. I don't like it. And some people do, and that's fine.
Mhm.
I'm cool. I just don't. I don't think she'll ever be a Jedi. And even if she were to get to that level of using the Force and this and that, I don't know. I just think that kind of backtracks on what
Mhm.
we know about Jedi. If it was that easy, why wouldn't more do it or be able to
Right.
do it? Why are they so selective?
Mhm.
Um, and then you get into aptitude with the Force, talent over the work you have to put in. But I don't know. I think there is a threshold that you
Right.
need to be at to be able to be a Jedi Knight. Because what if she goes up against I mean, she's fighting Shin, but we don't know how powerful Shin is in terms of other characters we know, like Anakin or Maul.
Mhm.
You know, put Sabine against a real Sith Lord, she's gonna die. I mean, she's not
Yeah.
gonna have a chance.
Yeah. One of my other thoughts I had on that before we move on is, and this is extended universe stuff, the EU that is no longer canon, but they had several books in there where they talked about what made Lando so. Yes, he had charisma,
Yeah.
but if he was able to, his midichlorian content or whatever level
Discount.
was
Yeah.
high enough to, we have Force suggestion. Who's to say
Yeah.
that, he didn't have a little bit? Han Solo was a great pilot,
Great pilot. Yeah.
had amazing reflexes. Maybe he was able, didn't realize it, but was
Yeah.
able to tap into a little bit of that. And they explored that a little bit in the extended universe, and now it's gone
Right.
away. But I don't mind that. I don't mind
No,
having
I don't mind that.
characters have a slight edge in one particular area.
No,
That
I'm cool with that.
yeah.
Definitely cool with that.
Um,
We've talked about it on our
uh,
show a bunch. Even in the
yeah.
episode, it's funny that you brought it up the way you brought it up. Our episode talks about it in much the same light that we released today. And we've had this discussion. I've had this discussion for the last 2.5 years. I've done my podcast with breaks since I've been on with other people, and this is a topic that kind of always comes back up. Can anyone use the Force?
Mhm.
To a degree, I think so. To a degree, but
Right.
at the same time, you put Vader and Han Solo in a room together. You have to battle to the death. Vader's gonna win.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
And
absolutely.
I don't think Han could. I don't think Han could ever do enough training to get to that level.
I agree 100%. Yeah. Nicole has a comment. I'm going to get to your comment here in a second, Nicole, but I'm going to go flash to Rose. Thinks it would be a good opportunity to say it's okay not to be a Force user and still
Yeah.
be willing to do the right thing.
I
Absolutely
agree.
amazing. And then Was expecting Sabine to be a bit more able to handle herself, being a Mandalorian. Um, that is true, I think, to a certain extent. Um, we are 6 years, 5, 6 years past Rebels.
No, no,
So,
no, 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 no. It's
aren't
more than
we?
that. It's more than that. Well, are we talking about the epilogue of Rebels or like before?
Well, let's see. Rebels ends for the most part at the Battle of. Oh yeah, no, that was Battle of Yavin. All right,
Yeah, that's the beginning. That's
so we're
5 years
looking
plus
at
6, 10,
9
11
years.
years.
All right, so
Yeah,
10 years.
9 to 11. Yeah,
Uh,
something there.
if she hasn't been fighting,
She's rusty. That's
yeah,
established. She's rusty.
everybody, with a 9 year layoff, and if she's
Yeah.
just cruising around Lothal on
Well,
some Bespin scooters, then
yeah,
maybe she's not quite as
yeah,
well trained.
and she did do some training in there. We know she trained with Ahsoka. It obviously didn't go well. I don't
Mhm.
think it could have been for that long either. So, she's definitely rusty. She's not at her full self. What I don't understand is where's her jetpack? Why doesn't she have her jetpack? That gives her the edge against Jedi. That's one of the
Yeah.
things that gives Mando's their edge against Jedi. So where is it? I want her jetpack.
Andrew said he thought that she handled herself pretty well against a
Yeah,
force user.
she
Yeah,
did.
I agree.
100%.
Yeah, even with the lightsaber, and we've already seen her been able to wield the dark saber back in Rebels. So
Right.
she handled herself. I thought, yeah, it was. I think she would have got crushed if she would have went up against Balin.
Oh yeah.
But she was going up against another apprentice. The apprentice got the better of her. Uh, it handled herself better in the second round than she did the first round. Um,
Well, she
so
made the
yeah.
mistake of going in full lights, like just grabbing a lightsaber and chasing her. Like,
Mhm.
no, you should not have done that. You should have grabbed your armor or something. But I mean, maybe there really wasn't much time. I get it.
Yeah.
But she grabs the lightsaber and she just gets skewered, man.
So, and another thing that episode 3 kind of continued on was seems like the New Republic is making the same mistakes that they made previously.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Empire sympathizers have been through a reclamation project. Well, apparently that hasn't worked.
Yeah.
They're really forgiving. Yeah,
Yeah.
they if they got rid of all of them, then maybe they wouldn't have enough people to know how to do it. So you have
Yeah.
to pick talent, but it just seems like these shows, whether it's Mandalorian, whether it's Ahsoka,
Yeah. Andor.
are really showing the New
Not
Republic
Andor.
to
Yeah.
be, I don't know, kind of Barney Fife-ish.
They are. They are. We know we've seen the sequel trilogy. We know they get blown to bits in the first movie. With no representation at all. So we
Yeah.
knew something went wrong.
Yeah.
And it apparently went wrong pretty quick. Like I want my New Republic to at least be competent, at least for a while. I mean, it seems like they were never competent in the first place.
Yeah, and I don't know if we'll ever get an explanation. So they had these huge battles. In fact, I guess the last battle was in Aftermath, was the last large battle,
Right.
which was the Battle of
Jakku. Yeah.
which we see in the sequel trilogy. And
Right.
I mean, there's Star Destroyer parts everywhere. And we know that the New Republic won, but now it's just like, come on, folks. I mean, there should be some sort of semblance of a working government, but not really. It's not really there. So, man, I'm really confused on why they're choosing to represent a New Republic this early as this incompetent. But I don't know. Other things that I have to write down. Do you think that they've changed how the Force works in this series?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Not yet. They may still. But we still see Sabine with zero aptitude for the Force. So it's not like she's not done anything with the Force where she previously could not, or she's not shown, because in Rebels we don't see her use the Force at all. There's no discussion of her even being Force sensitive. I don't believe. I know she does the training with Kanan. I'm a little fuzzy. I hadn't seen that in a while. So there may be something there in the slightest, but definitely nothing major about her being able to use the Force. So it's not inconsistent yet. It may get there, like I said, but I don't think they've changed the Force. It's still working the same way up to what we know about it. At least I think so.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it really goes back more to what George was trying to convey in the prequel trilogy on the Force with the midichlorians. And I know that's a bad word to a lot of people, but
yeah. But everybody has a count. Everybody has like at least one, right? I mean, that's
no, except
there's a little
me.
bit of the Force.
mine is 0, but that's
mine
all
too,
right.
man. I've been trying to move cups all 30 years of my life. Still can't move one. But
yeah,
I can make some doors open at certain stores.
Right,
So.
Absolutely, yeah. Elevator doors, it's
every
perfect.
once in a while.
Yeah. I was a bit worried with the first 2 episodes on how they were going to do that, but I think they kind of put it back. Instead of a circle into a square peg, at least now they have a rectangle trying to put it into a square peg.
Right.
But we'll see. Maybe they'll whittle some more off to make it fit.
Make it fit in there.
But we'll see. Another thing that I saw was we've already seen Ahsoka in season 2 of The Mandalorian, which Ahsoka series happens somewhere after season 2. We don't know.
That's what we think.
Don't know if it's between season 2 and season 3, or if it's after season 3. But we at least know that it's after season 2 because we already know about Morgan Elsbeth.
That's right,
and who she is. So it happens. This first part, at least, happens right here, right after that. Yeah. So she's already met Grogu. She's already declined to train Grogu, but she's willing to train Sabine. Why do you think that is, that she's okay with Sabine and not Grogu? And do you think it could have to do possibly with the amount of Force sensitivity and a chance to turn to the dark side?
So before I get started, Andrew in the comment section said he believes it's concurrent with season 3 or right after season 3. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Don't know, of course, but I believe it is. But Grogu, what gets me is I believe the reason she gives for not training Grogu is his attachment to Din. And Sabine clearly has an attachment to Ezra. I mean, it's she knows it. So that I don't understand why she wouldn't. I don't know if it had to do with him turning to the dark side, him being more powerful. But I do believe she's on a hunt for Thrawn.
Mm-hmm.
She knows she's on the hunt for Thrawn. She wants to stop his return. I don't think bringing a child that she's going to have to literally take care of, like chauffeur it around, feed him, and really pay attention to him, that's not gonna help her find Thrawn. That's gonna be a hindrance.
Yeah.
So I think that plays into it. Correct me if I'm wrong, DJ. Did she agree to train Grogu and then rescind the offer?
No, she flat out said that she wasn't going to train him.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought so. And I think she was kind of coy about it at first, and then came out and said it. If I'm remembering correctly.
Well, I think that she kind of gave an excuse to Din that. One sec. All right, that was my mom. I'll call her back later. I think that she kind of gave like the side eye to Din. She was not very forthcoming with information about him.
Right.
And I don't know if it's just because she didn't want to be known, because I guess at that time nobody knew that she was really out there.
No, not really.
So, and she said, talks with him, tells him that, hey, his name's Grogu, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, well, you can train him then, and because you are the same. And she's like, yeah, no, I can't train him, or I'm not the one to train him.
Well, and that too, it may have been she believed that Luke, because I think she knew all along that Luke was gonna heed the call.
Mm-hmm.
Why she just didn't send them to Luke, I don't know. Maybe she hadn't met Luke at that point. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I think she knew that there was someone who could take the time with Grogu and really help him along the way.
Yeah.
And of course, that all goes asunder, which I have my own feelings about. That's a different podcast. That's a different episode.
But yeah, and I mean, this was just I was toying around with the idea of why one and not the other. Right. And I didn't know if it's just because she already knew Sabine.
Yeah, she has a history with Sabine as well.
Yeah.
And it might, and it really might go back to what you said about her not really training her to be a Jedi, because we've never heard Ahsoka say, "Oh yeah, I want to train you to be a great Jedi Knight," or I mean, up to this point, Ahsoka's not a Jedi that we know of.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
I mean, and she even tells Hu Yang, she's like, what I did not follow the Jedi protocol. I think she's on the journey to being called a Jedi once more. That's my opinion. I think she's going to take the moniker back on at some point. So.
Especially with the opening crawl that we got, former Jedi Knight, which she was never a Jedi Knight to begin with. She was still a Padawan when
technically, no. She was offered
when
knighthood.
She left. When she was exonerated and came back, and she's like, "No, can't do that."
Yeah, and they might consider that her being a Jedi Knight because she was offered knighthood. Too many people got really hung up on that, and I'm like, I mean, okay, I mean that's not something to get hung up about.
Yeah,
there are some things, but that's not it.
And there might be a little merit to with that she wasn't a Jedi Master, she wasn't a Jedi Knight, so maybe she doesn't feel qualified to train someone as powerful as Grogu, but she can help somebody that has limited force ability like Sabine. So maybe that was the whole reason, and had nothing to do with Anakin being so powerful in the Force and turning to the dark side, and
that makes Luke pretty ballsy then.
yeah. I mean, look what happened. I mean, he had Ben to train, and we see how that ended up too. He
had to knight himself. So
Nick was here with
nobody's around.
Lightsaber. Yeah. Oh man,
by the will of the Force.
Right.
I am a Jedi Knight.
So in season 4, episode 4, we saw that Sabine gave in, and now we'll get back into Nicole's
Yeah, go find it.
comment here.
There it is.
So Shin gives in and goes off with the bad guys in a hope to get Ezra. In the opening credits, Sabine's helmet was red. Do you think Sabine will go to the dark side?
Good foreshadowing because I mean, she gives in to the bad guys at the end. I mean,
Yeah.
But so here's my question: someone who doesn't have any can you go to the dark side? I mean, you can be a bad person, but like, is Tarkin? Tarkin doesn't use the Force. Is Tarkin? Is he on the dark side? No, he doesn't use the Force. So I don't necessarily know if she can be turned to the dark side.
Right.
Really,
And maybe dark side is not the right term. Join, not, and I can't say empire because the empire doesn't exist, but join
it's
the
about to.
it's not first order.
The remnant. The remnant.
The remnant of the empire.
The Imperial remnant. Yeah.
Um,
That's what they're called in the EU legends now.
Oh, okay. Imperial remnant. Good term. So, so do you think maybe not dark side, but do you think that she will join the remnant in order to bring about give up what she believes in and sacrifice that in order to get Ezra? How bad does she want it?
Yeah, I think at the end of this, she will be on the right side of history. I don't think she's going to turn all the way, and she honestly may. I don't know if she got captured on purpose, but she's definitely there with them and alive, and is going to find Ezra. She may believe that Ezra is the key to defeating these people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's lost her faith in Ahsoka. I mean, they obviously have a pretty shady past. Some bad stuff went down. So maybe she's betting all on Ezra being on the other side of this gate, and it's going to be those two against the world. Because remember, Ron's over there, but he's also got the Chimera, which maybe in shambles. You might not be able to use it, but he had his crew with him. So I mean,
and
it's going to be pretty tough.
I know it was busted, but and again, they're in another galaxy. Who knows where they are and what kind of resources are there? Perhaps wherever they are, they found enough duct tape and tinfoil to patch together the Chimera and have it operational again.
Maybe they're coming back on a bio ship from the Yuzun Vong. I'm not going to say it won't happen.
But we don't know, and I think that we're going to get that. I think we'll get more. I think starting, and I don't think we'll see it in this one. And I think this is probably my last topic that I have for where do we think that this is going. So I'll shelve that for now. But we don't know what's going on there.
We do know that hyperspace ring is going to carry something pretty big back. I think they made it that big on purpose.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It had to travel a great distance,
right? And
at first, I was thinking, all right, in order to travel, it's got to be huge, but
it's got to be big enough for those engines.
My other thought was, all right, where have we seen these hyperring before? And it was a small one that had a very small or two small engines on it for the Jedi starfighters to transport those. If this thing is that huge, what in the world are they going to bring back? And I was like, oh, all right, the Chimera.
The Chimera,
they
possibly.
Can bring that back, but
even if the Chimera is busted up, if it can connect to that thing, that ship can carry it.
Right.
So I don't know. I think that's a viable theory, at least.
Right. So I have Night Sisters here. So Night Sisters, we've only seen either in comic books or video games.
And animated shows.
And well, yeah, and the animated show, but very briefly. Um,
I don't know, man. The Clone Wars, they were pretty involved.
were they?
They brought
It's
back
been a-
Darth Maul.
Yeah,
They go, but they are crucial to the plot. Dooku goes to them to get
but
Savage Opress.
but I
Like
thought
they're
that they
in
had all.
several episodes.
Yeah, but I
Several
thought that they
episodes.
were pretty much gone. I thought they were surprised that they got one back in Fallen Order with
Yes.
Marion.
Well, Fallen Order, yes, because
And I mean,
because,
it's been a minute since I watched all
Palpatine
of
wipes
Clone
them out.
Wars.
Palpatine,
Yeah.
I believe, wipes them out. But
And-
that's
and
it.
that's what I was
That's
thinking.
in Clone Wars. That's at the end.
Yeah.
That's after they had been all their been useful. But yeah, they were highly involved with bringing Savage Opress to Dooku. Dooku comes to them, and then bringing back Darth Maul, and then Savage and Maul go back and visit them another time. And that's just the three times I remember off the top of my head. There may be more.
So, and I thought it was interesting that they refer to what they do as magic rather than force ability.
Right.
And that always struck me odd. Do you think that maybe that these Night Sisters are originally from this other galaxy? If this was, legend, and thousands of years ago they had the ability to go back and forth, which is what Hiang was saying. Possibly that they brought this ability to this galaxy where they're from. They call it magic instead of the force, but I don't know. I'm just
And two, their abilities are different, a little bit different from the abilities we see normal Force users use. I mean, they use like necromancy and things like that, which I guess you could use. I guess like Palpatine could probably do that. I don't know. So it may strictly be the Force. It might be a little different. I don't know. I'd like to see more lore on it. I know in the EU, I know we bring that up a lot, but they cherry pick a lot of the EU for this stuff now.
Yeah.
But the Night Sisters were a part of that as well, and they were just Force switch. They just used the Force. They were using dark side of the Force. But yeah, if you notice, if you look in the temple, or not the temple, the little chamber that Ahsoka's in that first episode, and you have the three people represented. I think those are Night Sisters. So it very well may be a Night Sister thing.
Yeah.
Because she seemed to know exactly how to get there, where to find it, and how to find it, and how to use it.
Right. Ro brought something up earlier in our Red 5 chat that I thought was interesting. And we know that Marok, and I'll get your thoughts on how that played out.
Yeah.
But he turned out to be Night Sister magic infused. But
Lost in the wind.
was he... so he sent out the spinning lightsaber and it came back. Now that could have been a boomerang effect, or did he use the Force to bring it back to him? And if so, does that mean that the Night Sisters figured out a way to bring back a being and that utilizes the Force? Because that's what Palpatine was after the whole time, was trying to, and he couldn't do it with a clone.
Create a beat, yeah.
And
well, I think that Marok was a little too thin. Not thin as in he was thin, but his existence was a little too thin for what Palpatine wanted. Could Marok? Did we hear him speak? I think we may have heard him speak in the third episode.
Yes.
So he did speak, and but at the end of the day, you get a good hit on him and he just turns to dust. Is there a
Yeah.
time limit on it? Does Morgan have to be close? You know, what are the limitations on that?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the rub is, because they've been known to use necromancy in the past. So and Palpatine
So
knows about them.
so we had so many theories on Marok or Marok or whatever his name is.
Maroc. I think it's
Whether
Maroc.
it was whether he was Star Killer, whether he was
Yeah.
Ezra, whether he was Jar Jar, or I kept throwing out maybe he's Yoda. You know, just
He's a gonk droid.
something. Inquisitor.
C-3PO.
What's the story? How do you think that they handled that? Because everyone was banking on it being an actual person. Wait for this reveal. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Everyone is just going to lose their crap. And then we got smoke. How do you think that they handled that?
I think it was great, to be honest. I think it was refreshing. If you look at any of my Twitter comments, I put a post on Twitter this past week. It's the meme of Fred from Scooby-Doo unmasking the person. But anyways, I had to unmask. And then under it, I had a question mark, like, who do you think it's going to be? And I know the biggest theories I saw was, of course, Starkiller, which please don't bring him to canon. He's too powerful. And if you bring him to canon, you're going to have to nerf him. If you nerf him, people are not going to like him. It's going to cause a lot of problems in the fan base. Other one was Ezra. But how the heck did Ezra get back? Didn't make much sense. Those were the two big ones that I saw. And obviously, they were all wrong. And I thought, I didn't even know what to think, to be honest. I was hoping it was going to be a nobody, just someone under a mask. It didn't even turn out to be that. But I think it was refreshing. I think they had a chance to really play into fan service that a lot of people have been complaining about. They had the chance to make this. Could have been Star Killer, and there would have been people like, yeah, and then later got mad because he was nerfed. It would have gotten an initial woo, but they didn't play into that. It was a totally original idea. I hadn't seen anything like that in Star Wars. I think it was cool. I think they played that just right.
I was really blown away. I had a secret theory.
Oh, no.
That I thought, and this is before I heard him speak.
Yeah.
I thought this was how they're going to introduce Mara Jade and the Emperor's. I thought, a hidden Inquisitor that was trained by the Emperor and was this secret apprentice. But yeah, I mean, I thought, all right, well, maybe then I heard it was the deep guttural kind of and I'm like, all right, so it's not that.
Man, Mira's coming back, but she's gonna be a really muscular looking lady.
Right? Yeah. I mean, but yeah, we didn't know. It's a
who was the reanimated Inquisitor?
Was it the eighth brother? That was had similar armor, maybe a reanimated eighth brother.
Yeah, something like that. I saw that theory.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't know. And who knows? We could still get Mara in this. I doubt it. I think that's way too fan service. But
I love the character of Mara Jade. I think she's great. I don't think she belongs in Disney Star Wars or current Star. Where do you fit her in? And you're not going to be happy because she's not around when Luke's academy burns down, and he dies. He doesn't have any interaction after that with anyone, and then dies. So, if you introduce her, you must change. You must change Luke Skywalker's story to where he doesn't die, or has like the secret love affair with her or something. I don't know, but if you introduce, I'm not going to be happy. Like I try to give, every theory and opinion, every project that Star Wars puts out, I try to have positives and look, even if I didn't care for it, I like to look at some of the positives that I have. I don't see any positives. And Andrew's correct as well. Yeah, George didn't care for Mara Jade. He really didn't care for the EEU, honestly. I mean,
Right.
he said that's a different story. And I know
Yeah.
we take that as canon because that's all we had. And I think they were great stories.
And
But
I didn't mind. I didn't care if it was, and I think they even called them legends. I didn't mind that. Yes, the movies were 100% canon.
Right.
The books were and I always thought legends. You know, people sitting around a campfire. You know, or around a base or somewhere.
It was dubbed Legends after Disney bought them. Disney labeled them Legends, but they were the expanded universe before that.
So, and I was like, all right, I don't mind. I don't mind it not being 100% canon because it's just people telling stories, and why not?
But they are taking a lot of this stuff though, and bringing it into canon.
Yeah.
Which it's okay. I wish they'd come up with some more originals because you're going to have people who compare it. I mean, like Thrawn. Thrawn is one of the biggest EU characters, biggest Legends characters, and they brought him into canon, which has been good so far. I think it's been great. I like the way they've treated his character, but now we're getting into like an Heir of the Empire kind of story. Definitely after this series, there's going to be some kind of adaptation, I think, to Heir of the Empire. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
How I feel it's kind of going. And people are going to be mad when it doesn't hold up to the original telling of that story in the extended universe. And there's some people who are going to eat it up and love it. Having not seen it or it not being made, I can't tell you my opinion, but I can tell you I'm going to be one of those guys who compares the stories and be like, well, man, why didn't they just make the original story? So I kind of wish we would, like The Mandalorian, totally original. There's nothing like that in the extended universe or Legends. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Andor, Rogue One, those are great projects. Why not tell more original stories? I mean, and these are original stories, but they do borrow from the Legends.
Yes.
And I'm not saying don't borrow from the Legends at all, but there's some heavy borrowing at some points.
So before we get to our thoughts of what could happen here in the near future, I have one more topic.
Okay.
What's up with Anakin?
Is it bad special effects? Do you think it's just bad special effects?
No. I think it was done on purpose.
Yeah, and it may have. He's very shiny.
I don't believe that that's actually Anakin.
I've seen that a lot.
And I say that for a couple of reasons, 3 reasons. 1, he's got his mechanical arm. 2, he's got a lightsaber.
Yeah.
3, the music notes as it fades to black.
Oh yeah, Imperial March.
And you get the Imperial March, although it's modified a little bit.
Yeah.
In Return of the Jedi, he's made new.
Right.
So
you think Ahsoka's in Force Hell? No,
I really
Ahsoka, you were bad.
I think, I don't know. I think it has something to do with the son and the sister from the
Mortis arc.
Mortis arc.
Yeah.
I think it's going to have something to do with that. I think that's why the character, because we've seen them use good CGI. Luke was really good.
He was pretty good in season 2 of Mandalorian, and then he took a big leap forward in Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
There's the eyes were still a little weird, but others, I mean, still fantastic. I mean, that is fantastic work what they did. I thought the budget ran out.
And I think it's just going to play on her. All right, well, this is kind of what he's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
You know, what we're going to take
and
this
he is,
picture.
and he is kind of shimmering. I mean, he's kind of shimmering.
Yeah.
He's kind of faded. But we are in the world between worlds, it seems. I mean, we hadn't said that. So it could be Anakin from a different point in time. That could happen. I don't know how they would play that, but that is a possibility.
Right.
Man, I honestly don't know what to think. And I usually have a theory for things, and I really don't. But yeah, he does. He's not. I don't think he's Force Ghost Anakin because, like you said, he's got a mechanical arm. He's got a lightsaber. He's not wearing his white robes of pureness that he had at the end of Return of the Jedi. And we all know. I mean, those black robes are just symbolize that we know what he's going to become. You know, there's a reason he doesn't wear the same Jedi robes as everybody else.
Yeah.
And these are the robes he has on here. And maybe that's because that's how Ahsoka remembers him, or I don't know, but it's something's up. Something's up.
So something's up. What do you think's coming here in the near future for Ahsoka? Where do you think this is going to all lead to?
So I've either this is Anakin and he's going to help her through her demons. They're going to reconcile. They're really going to hash out what happened between them with him, because she feels extremely bad for leaving Anakin, turning her back on her master and friend.
Mm-hmm.
We get that. We get that through Rebels. That is a heavy theme in her fight against Vader and Rebels. It's a heavy theme in the second episode when she's talking about Sabine. She says, "I walked away from Sabine like I walked away from my master." She's carried that with her.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, if this isn't Anakin, or if it's like Vader Anakin or something like that, they're gonna fight, and she's gonna hash out her feelings that way, and the real Anakin's gonna show up. I feel like I think in the trailer we got Force Ghost Anakin, and could be a misdirect. I don't know. They've been known. I've seen that happen before. Stuff in the trailers that's not in the show to misdirect you. I've seen that, so maybe it is.
But I actually like that. I like that idea that, you know, they end up fighting and then the real Anakin shows up, and oh man, that would be cool. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
Either the real Anakin shows up to help, or she gets it all out. She destroys the if it's a vision from the brother or something. That's another possibility, of course. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know if it's the brother. I know the Mortis stuff. I like the Mortis stuff, but it's very supernatural. I mean, we're talking about a series that relies on the Force and that, but I feel like it deifies these characters in a way that Star Wars doesn't. You know, so I don't. As it relates to the EU, I think Mortis is cool because of where it all leads to at the end, like the last series that the EU did before becoming legends and dying. But in canon and what it means to the characters, I don't know, man. It's tough, and we're gonna have to see the Morai. I want to see her enlightenment because she's got that Force deity in her. It gave her life, that her essence is essentially a part of Ahsoka. Like, I know I just said I didn't know what that means. I might not like the Mortis stuff now. It's cool, but I don't know the effects it has. But I do want to see the effects it has on Ahsoka. You know, what happens to her? Is this how she becomes Ahsoka the White? Is she being Gandalfinized here in this place? Is she going to come out with the staff and the robe? And I don't know.
And I've had those thoughts as well. I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to. I think we'll have at least one episode with interaction with Anakin in the world between worlds.
Yeah.
And whether it's actually Anakin or not, I think we're going to see a lot of. Because in World Between the Worlds, you can see any point in the timeline.
Correct.
So I think we're going to go back and see her and Sabine and get that backstory. I think we're going to see her and Anakin, and maybe if she had trained with Anakin and what would have happened. Maybe we'll get a thing where Anakin, she trains Anakin, Anakin turns, and then he turns Ahsoka, and we get bad Ahsoka, or
cool.
I mean, or and then something that leads to her realizing that she's chosen the right path.
Yeah.
To make things work the way that they need to, and I think we're going to get. That's going to be the summary of it, and she'll come out of it in all the white, Ahsoka the White.
Yeah.
And she'll be able to move forward.
Yeah.
At peace with herself.
Yeah. I think we'll have 2 episodes. I think she'll because we hadn't really even touched on Thrawn and Ezra. Obviously, we're going to find them, see them. But I think in the penultimate episode, Ahsoka will be, or maybe at the end of the 6th episode or something, we'll have Ahsoka beam to wherever they're at, because we know it kind of bridges space and time.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll be spit out to wherever the action's at, and we'll get the final act of this series. But it is important to realize that the deities of Mortis are heavily involved in this realm, the world between worlds. In Rebels, you see the gate has the father and has the daughter, and it has the son as the pathway to get in, and that gate we find on Lothal. So it's something. I mean, it's got to be something. It's all connected. It's too connected now. We have pieces on board that all from the same kind of play set to not build the thing.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited for it. I think they took leaps and bounds in these episode 3 and 4. I'm excited to see where it goes from here. But yeah. Hey, we're running out of time, so I definitely want to thank Blake for jumping on with me tonight.
Of course.
Part of the Dork Wars crew. Tell everybody where they can find you, Blake.
Well, they can find us on Spotify, YouTube, our YouTube channel. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you get podcasts. We're there. Just type in Dork Wars, the podcast. You can find us at dorkwarspodcast.com. There's the links to everything that we do. And on the socials, just Dork Wars Podcast or Dork Wars the Podcast, we will pop up. Come and find us. We'd love to interact and talk and, do the thing with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, everybody go check them out. Give them a like, a follow, subscribe, all that kind of fun shenanigans.
And happy birthday again, DJ. Happy birthday again.
It. Yeah.
Celebrations.
Didn't really do much as far as a celebration, but that's fine. I much prefer to have Star Wars talk instead anyway. But yes.
So DJ, I heard you were born at a very young age. Let's get the life story.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. It's murky. And it's kind of like quicksand. You just, get sucked in. But 48, born in 1975. Fun stuff. But hey, don't forget, after us is WSTR Radio. I did not hear what topic they have coming up, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing, whatever that topic is. Go check them out. Thanks to everyone in the chat for coming in. And hopefully we'll get this audio version out to the podcast distribution here in the next couple of days. Appreciate you, everybody, and have a great night.